Hola, buenos dias a todos. Hello, good morning to everyone. This is again Julio, your Spanish teacher for this Spanish language conversational course. Now, we're going to discuss about parts of speech and the articles in Spanish. Now, what is a part of speech? There are thousands of words in English and Spanish. Luckily, parts of speech exist to help categorize these words. Parts of speech group words together based on their function in a sentence. In Spanish, the main parts of speech are articles, noun, pronoun, adjective, verb, adverb, preposition, conjunction, and interjection. Knowing the parts of speech makes learning Spanish easier. Understanding parts of speech is incredibly useful when learning a foreign language. Knowing a word's parts of speech tells you how to use it in a sentence. This knowledge makes it easier to properly construct sentences. Additionally, it's important to know the parts of speech so that you're not confused when your Spanish teacher talks about conjunctions, adverbs, and articles. Knowing some basic grammar terminology will help you better understand what's going on in class. Now, what is articles or los artículos? Articles draw special attention to the noun that they precede. The type of article shows the way that the speaker is thinking about the noun. The speaker could be talking about the noun in a general sense or as a specific item. The two distinct types of articles are definite and indefinite. Definite articles specify which object, person, or place the speaker is talking about. The is the only definite article in English. In Spanish, however, there are four definitive articles, which are los, las, el, and la. Again, these articles or artículos change depending on the noun that they precede because in Spanish nouns, most of them or all of them have genders. Even a chair, a table, even neutral things on English has its own gender. So we must really learn that one by one here in Spanish. The good thing here is there is a pattern. Nouns that ends with letter O usually are masculine, but not always. While nouns that ends with letter A are usually feminine, but not always. So later on the other parts of our lesson, we will notice and recognize that kind of pattern. So here we have masculine singular, el, article, feminine singular, la, masculine plural, los, feminine plural, las, and let's see the definite articles example. The teacher puts the pencil on the table. La maestra pone el lápiz en la mesa. La maestra pone el lápiz en la mesa. So through this article la, we can learn that the maestra is a she or is a feminine noun. Okay? A specific feminine noun because it is la and not other kind of article. Another example here, the dog runs in the yard. El perro corre en el patio. El perro corre en el patio. We can also see here that the dog is a masculine, specific masculine noun because we use here el and not any other kind of article. Also, indefinite articles are a non-specific way to refer to a noun. A and an are the only two English indefinite articles that exist. However, in Spanish, there are 4. Again, these articles or artículos change depending on the noun that they precede. So they must always agree with the gender and number. If it's singular and plural, if it's a feminine or masculine. So masculine singular for indefinite will be on. Feminine singular will be una. Masculine plural will be unos, and feminine plural will be unas. Let's use this on a sentence, the same context, and look how the sentences change with indefinite articles. A teacher puts a pencil on a table. Una maestra pone un lápiz en una mesa. Una maestra pone un lápiz en una mesa. So we can see that the maestra or teacher here, also the table or mesa, are now indefinite because we use una as an indefinite article. And then a dog runs in a yard. Un perro corre en un patio. Un perro corre en un patio. We also use here indefinite article to say that it is not specific but a general noun. Also, if we want to, let's say we want to apply the plural article here. Let's say dogs run in a yard. So we can just make it plural by changing it to unos. Then perros, just add s to make it plural. So unos perros corre en un patio. But of course, the corre will also be conjugated to a plural form. So later, we'll discuss that on the latter discussions, not this time, okay? Another examples, the book is interesting. El libro es interesante. El libro es interesante. The house is big. La casa es grande. Or if you want to say the houses are big, okay, the houses are big, you can say las casas estas grande, or están grande, okay? Las casas están grandes. I have a dog. Tengo un perro. Tengo un perro. If you want to say I have dogs, you can say tengo unos perros. I want an apple. Quiero una manzana. Quiero una manzana. This also nouns that must have articles most of the time. Just remember this rule. So body parts, when we're talking about this, for example, stomach, you don't say its preposition, but you always use its article. So, for example, you want to say my stomach. You don't say mi estómago, but el estómago. Days of the week. El lunes or Monday. Time of the day, it's 1 o'clock. Es la una. Seasons. Summer, for example, el verano. And countries, Philippines, las Filipinas. Idiomatic expressions, a la derecha, to the right, a la izquierda, to the left. So remember this, categories of nouns that must always have articles, not following its preposition. Now for our activities and homework, write 8 sentences using these 8 Spanish articles. Use the nouns and verbs provided below. Book, libro, man, hombre, woman, mujer, read, lee, conjugated verb, write, escribe, so conjugated verb, and just follow the pattern regarding the file name. Then record yourself speaking the sentences you have created 3 times. Remember, this is a conversational course, so we must really have an output or a, a speaking practice all the time. That's why we're doing here. So that's all. I hope you learned something. Muchas gracias. Nos vemos. Adios.